Yeah. Fly was flying on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a bird game nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man Saul Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season here, early time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.
What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. Now, as you can see, I have some goats in the building, man. We ain't gonna sugarcoat it today, man. We ain't gonna sugarcoat it. These dudes pointing fingers everywhere. But no, we got some goats in the building, man. I'm excited for tonight. Now, before I have them introduce themselves to maybe that one person that lives under a rock somewhere that needs to know who they are, but before I have them introduce themselves, I don't usually do this. I try to keep it professional, but I'm in a very unique situation. There's a whole community that would love to do what I'm about to do right now. And I just want to say before, first, welcome to the show, obviously, but thank you. Thank you to all three of you guys for everything you guys have, given to the community, everybody that you have inspired to do a podcast, a random channel, to do a random Eagles highlight, to do a random Eagles edit. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of people that you guys may maybe not realize that you guys have touched. So thank you for that. And thank you for all your work. But, we're not going to hug and sing Kumbaya. I just wanted to say that real quick. But we'll start with RB, man. You guys just introduce yourselves. Let them know where they can find you.
Dang, man. Too kind. Way too kind. But, hey, RB, Philly Take with RB, thank you for having us on. Appreciate the opportunity. I'm excited to talk it with some of the best in the business, man. So thanks for having us.
Yeah, I agree, man. Lord Brunson, man, thank you for having me. Very kind words. I'm not used to being talked to that nice in the off season because I'll be starting a lot of fires, man. But thanks for having us, man. I'm excited to work with you guys, man.
My name is Mark Holmes, and I'm happy to be here. No, Philly 500 is my name. Double moonwalking people's my game. I'm glad to be here in all seriousness. I love the work that you do here on Philly the podcast.
Thank you.
Here with some good other content creators. And I'm just honored to be included in this. So thanks for having me.
Definitely, man. So let's get into it. Let's just jump into it. Football's back. I know we all kind of had to jump, kind of head first into content, NBA free agency, training camp, everything. But take a second. We'll do the same kind of, round table situation, but take a second and just tell me, how do you feel? Football is back. I feel like this was a very long off season, but the pads are going back on tomorrow. And I think that simplifies, football is actually back. So how do you guys just feel having it back?
Thank God. It's been a long off season. It's been a wacky off season, and man, I needed it. Especially after the Sixers disappointed us and everything. It was real slow in June and July, so I'm looking forward to it. I have a bad taste in my mouth about last year and what happened, and I just can't wait to get this thing going.
Oh, I'll go. So I'm just happy that it's back as well. The pandemic, man, a lot of things changed, but the one constant that we all still had was football and the ability to still push out our content. So football, probably saved a lot of us from just being so bored and being able to do what we do. But listen, I'm glad that it's back. I'm ready to talk my talk. Another good season, man. We're going to chase this trophy. Let's see.
Yeah, just to add on to that, I feel like this is kind of a fresh start, not just, having the fans back and just having that atmosphere, but overall, like you guys just said, I mean, last year was a catastrophe, and it feels like we finally moved in the right direction, and we cleared out some of the things that we needed to clear out, maybe not all, but, I'm ready to go, and I'm excited to have that fresh feeling, and just work hard and grind it out. I'm excited.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. We got a fresh start. We obviously have a whole new coaching staff, so we'll see what happens there. But we're a weekend, right? We're a weekend to practices, to training camp, and we're seeing what some of these guys their personalities are, right? At first, I felt like Nick Sirianni was going to be that loud, running up and down the field. But it seems like Jonathan Gannon's more that guy. That kind of surprised me. But can you guys tell me maybe something that surprised you? Maybe that's something that stood out in this first week. Is there anything that kind of just pops into your mind?
I wouldn't say it's necessarily surprising to me, but just something that I've been really happy to hear that I wanted to kind of confirm is just everybody believing in the quarterback and just all the praise for, Jalen Hurts and, the good chemistry and just kind of the impact he's making. And I feel like we kind of needed that in a certain sense. And I'm just happy to have, finally give him the reins, you know what I mean? Not a quarterback competition or a battle per se, just, you're our guy, go out and win it. And so far, I mean, huddling the guys, after practices and stuff, I really like those little things. So I'm excited to have, I'm ready to give the kid a chance.
Well,
I'll tell you. Oh, go ahead, LB.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So the one thing that really surprised me, though, that, I kind of saw it coming was one of our linebackers emerging. You know what I mean? The stuff that they're saying about Davion Teller is just what I've been waiting for. I was a guy that didn't believe we needed a linebacker. And to hear we got somebody in-house that we drafted that's developing ahead of schedule who was thought to be just like an athletic project. And this dude is really coming into his own. So if this dude can really solidify himself, I think it's a lot of great things to come out of the linebacker position that we desperately need. So it's a little surprising, but it didn't surprise me personally.
I'll tell you what. I wasn't surprised that Jalen Hurts came out and looked good. I wasn't surprised Devontae Smith has been killing it the way he has. A little surprised with Davion Taylor, but happy. But the thing that shocked me kind of the first week was that the media, like the radio stations, the news reports, they have been so critical of Nick Sirianni all season, acting like he's trash, he ain't going to be anything. And after 1 week of practice and seeing this guy, what he's doing, they're already changing their tune. They're already going, you know why? He may not be a bad coach. I kind of like what he's doing here. I kind of like what he's doing. That happened a lot quicker than I thought it was going to. That's probably been the biggest surprise for me.
Yeah, and it's deserving. So, I mean, everybody that I've spoken to about him at practice seems like he's that dude. He's taking on that CEO role. He's not, and I hate to use this term, but he's not goofy. He's not acting goofy at practice and out there trying to play, rock, paper, scissors with people or nothing, that's non-football. He likes to be competitive off the field, but he compartmentalizes stuff. So he's being professional on the field, like I said, not running up and down the field, letting his younger coaches who, he's young himself, but he's letting his young coaching staff connect to the players and connect to their groups, their player groups. So I'm excited. I think that this is what you want to see. This is more. It's not like Andy Reid, but it's more Andy Reid-esque. It makes more sense. Like what Doug Peterson did made sense to the fact that we needed somebody that was totally opposite of Doug Peterson. Of Chip Kelly, excuse me. We needed somebody totally opposite that could connect to these players. So I understood the move at that point, but this is a pure football move, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Like this could really make this can make us a better franchise, not just a better team this year. You know what I'm saying? So let me ask you guys this, like you said, Davion Taylor did stand out and stuff like that. Is there, now that we have Steven Nelson, is there still that one position that you say, if we can solidify this, whether it's, a player on the roster or a player on another team or a free agent, that you say, if we can solidify this one spot, this team is a really dangerous team? Is there still that position for you guys?
Well, go ahead, LB.
No, you got it this time, 500.
Okay, so I would say this. Of course, the easy answer is the quarterback, right? That we need a quarterback who's got to play well. But I think the defensive line, the defensive end spot between Sweat or Barnett, they have to solidify because the Eagles' defense is always built around the pass rush. If you're not getting to the quarterback and the corners have to hold guys longer, it's not going to work. We need somebody, I think, Derek Barnett, Josh Sweat. I lean towards Josh Sweat. They got to step up. Somebody's got to step up because I know Brandon Graham's going to give you everything he always does. But who else is going to step up? That, to me, is the spot right now.
I agree. I kind of agree and disagree with that because the defensive line was built the way it was built based upon who we had in the past, like the coaches and stuff like that. We never know what these guys are going to run. Now, we don't know what our defense is going to be built like. but that is a really good battle on the defensive line. The position for me would definitely has to improve the most would be the offensive line, I think, at this point. The offensive line is good at run protection, but not good at pass protection. And I'm seeing a lot of reports about that. And that's kind of concerning because we got to be able to mix it up at some point. What's do we have to get younger there? Do we have to get a standout guy on free agency? Like, what do we have to do to be solid in protecting the quarterback once he's in the pocket? Now, it does help that we have a mobile quarterback. So if the pocket breaks down, he can make something happen on his own. But I'm still a little bit kind of concerned about pass protection.
Yeah, and for me, I was going to go with the easy one for me, which would be linebacker. Like, I still want to see these guys, prove themselves. But actually, what I really am interested to see what happens is at wide receiver, because with Devontae Smith now being out for a couple weeks, Jalen Reagor trying to get back into action. We saw Travis Fulgham last year for a couple games. He looked, like one of the best receivers in the entire league, and then he got his snaps cut short. But at the end of the day, I guess it would be more of just I want to see who comes out there and wins that job. And if maybe we do need to go out and sign a vet, or maybe even a guy like Greg Ward steps up, I'm interested to see what happens at the wideout, because I think it's going to be key to Jalen Hurts' success this year.
Yeah, I agree with all of you guys. And I'm kind of upset with your answer, RB, because I was literally going to say, I was like, he'll probably say linebacker. So I'm going to say wide receiver. But I am going to stick with wide receiver, but for a different reason. And it's maybe a negative Nancy type answer, but I've said this before. I feel like, listen, we've put so many assets and missed on that wide receiver spot as far as draft picks go. And I know next year we have a slew of draft picks, but I can't go another year hoping that we can hit on a wide receiver. So I'm saying that we need these guys to hit. We need at least one or two of these guys to come out and really earn a second contract, because we cannot continuously try to top load the wide receiver room, or any room, but wide receiver I feel has been a very tough spot for us. Also, cornerback, obviously. But, we can't keep on spending first-round picks on wide receivers. We just have to, move on at some point. So I'm hoping that if it's, Reagor, Fulgham, whoever the heck the second guy is, I'm hoping that somebody shines with Devontae Smith, that, he has a running mate, because that's the most important thing.
But that's the key you just said. You said with Devontae Smith, because I'm telling you, he's a stud. He's an absolute stud. He is the guy. I'm telling you, this is a hell of a player. We got our wide receiver, okay? The question is that other open spot. That's the fascinating battle. I really think it's going to be Quez Watkins. I think Watkins will win that job. But I think it'll be between him and Fulgham. I really do. And whoever emerges out of that will be good. But, before in the past, you couldn't say, I hope this receiver emerges with this guy. We didn't have this guy. Now we at least got Devontae Smith,
Sure. I will say, to your point, last time that you were on here, we were talking about Quez Watkins, and you said he was like your, sleeper player. And I posted that on Instagram, and Quez Watkins' trainer was like, "That's a smart man. That's a smart man." So you got a fan.
Oh, really?
And Quez Watkins' trainer. I thought that was hilarious. I've been meaning to tell you.
I did not know that. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been meaning to tell you that. But let me ask you guys something. You guys bring up, we're bringing up the skill positions. Obviously, we have this drama going on with Zach Ertz or the real Zach Ertz, Slim Zach. I don't know what
Blind
to call him
bomber.
at this point.
Blind bomber.
There we go. I like that. There's so many ways we can go with this. But what are your guys' thoughts about Zach Ertz? It looks the more and more that we keep on moving forward to the, closer to the season. It looks like he's going to be on this team. What are your guys' thoughts? Are you cool with him being on this team? Is there a caveat for it? Like, how do you guys just feel? It might say how you feel. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people sit on different sides of the fence here.
I want to hear RB, because I already know what 500 going to say. I want to hear RB, so I can see if I have an ally or not in my answer.
To be quite honest, I think he's going to be on the team week one. I think, we're going to try to up his value and maybe sell him at some point during the year. But I think it's fair to say I don't know, because everything that has been done in the track record of Zach Ertz this last year or two, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. And it leads back to one of the problems I still believe we have with this franchise, the guy in charge. And that's something I'm sure we'll get into. But I think Zach Ertz is going to be here. I don't know. I think he'll have a decent season. But I could definitely see him on the move during this season because there's just no point in keeping him here at this point. But we're unpredictable. We are. So who knows?
Go ahead, LB.
So initially, when the season ended and he was acting the way he was acting over the contract dispute, I'm like, pay Zach Ertz. He deserves the money. Zach Ertz did a lot for the city, and I feel like Zach Ertz still got a good, productive 3 years left. I feel like he do. Now, I feel like he's going to be on the team, and you might as well just let him play out the season at this point. He'll be a free agent next year. He can put his best foot forward, market his own self. I think it's a win-win. So, unless you're going to get a fourth round pick or a third round pick, I would just keep him on the team for the rest of the season at this point.
I think he's got to go. Got to go. And I mean that with all the respect in the world for Zach Ertz and what he's meant to us. Mm-hmm. Okay, but we are building a team for the future as well as trying to be competitive this year. You can't tell me that we have reports coming out saying Zach Ertz was told by the Eagles that he will not start. So now he's in the last year of his contract, wanting one more major contract. Okay, and he's got to be on the bench. How's he going to put up great numbers as the backup tight end to go get a big contract? I almost think it's unfair to him, okay? Second, he came in with blonde hair. I can't help but think that was like Antonio Brown in training. I didn't
even think about it that way.
You know what I mean? It's just I'm like, is this guy mentally, he's either he wants to be in a porn or he's not there. Like, what's
he didn't
the
have
statement?
The stash.
But what was the statement he's trying to make? That's what I want to know. And I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's a lot going on to build his trade value. And if they're smart, they'll build him up, say how great he is, maybe even let him start a preseason game. And then when you get the opportunity, you trade him. I think it's fair to him. I think it's fair to Goddard. I think it's fair to the Eagles. Because if he sits in it's just a backup, look, I agree with LB. He still could play. He probably still could be a Pro Bowler. And obviously, the reason we're not getting a lot for him is because Howie wasted 2 years keeping him on the roster. This is what he did. He just restructured Derek Barnett and Lane Johnson. You're going to have, $60 million in cap space next year. Sometimes you got to just say to a guy, you know what? We appreciate what you did for us, but we got to pay guys on what they're going to do, not just what they did. So that's the reason why I would try to get rid of him.
But who on the roster is going to do what Zach Ertz can do? I don't have
nobody.
I personally, exactly. I don't have that much faith in Goddard to be the next Zach Ertz. Sometimes I feel like when you're building a football team that's going to win a Super Bowl, I feel like you need those core veterans that's going to be able to put the young guys in line. Yeah. Goddard still can learn a lot from Zach Ertz, especially since he's running around here botching conditioning drills. You know what I'm saying? He's not ready to be that dependable tight end yet, in my opinion.
He's not. He's not ready to be that guy. He is not Zach Ertz. We're not saying he's Zach Ertz. He has a way to go to get even remotely there. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to invest a second-round pick and then cash in the guy, okay, and then you're going to say he's going to start over Zach Ertz, to me, you're never going to get the value out of it by sitting him on the bench, or you're never going to let Dallas Goedert really emerge as a guy. The only way Dallas Goedert, we're going to know what he does is he's got to go out and play. And if you once they invested a second round pick, the hourglass was running. That's how I see it. I mean, I get your point. And if let's say I thought the Eagles could win the Super Bowl this year, I would say keep him. But to me, he's going to sit on the bench and lose money next year. He's just not going to be happy all year. That's kind of how I see it,
Yeah, I think they should just release him at this point if they really care about him.
Yeah, see, I'm at the point. I've tried to. Y'all all know me. I'm so far from trying to jump on the fence for anything. Even with Jalen Hurts, me and you, Brunts, have gone at it because I'm like, I don't want to say it yet. I don't want to say it yet. But I try to stay on the fence when it comes to people. But with Zach Ertz, I do think he has talent. It's all about what he's willing to be. People say, he has to be a backup. I'm not willing to go that far. If you win the job, you win the job. But I just need to know that next year you're willing to be Brent Selleck, that you're willing to help these younger guys. Now,
Yeah.
I will say he did help Tyree Jackson last practice. He was sitting there talking to Tyree Jackson on Friday when, you know, the veterans all got the day off. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign. You want him to take somebody under his wing. You know, if you're willing to do that and do what Brent Selleck did for you, you know, because realistically, if he can go out there and have a good season this year, if he can go out there, have a good season this year, go out, have another good season next year, you're in talks of one of the better tight ends in history of it. And I don't think that that's a crazy statement to make. You've had some crazy moments. You've had to, at the very least, you're the best in the franchise.
So
I mean,
you think, I'm
Go ahead.
sorry. I just want, you think he's going to take less money to stay next year?
I don't think he would. But that's the whole thing. It depends on what you would be willing to do, because I would pay him $6 million to be a backup. I think that's fair. You know, that's a little bit notched down from where he's at right now. But I don't know. I feel like we did it for Brent Selleck, and I think that that's kind of like to Brunson's point. You want the veterans to kind of bring these young guys along. So, I mean, yeah, I'm cool with it. Like I'm cool with it if he's mentally willing to be here.
I think he's better. He's way better than Brent Selleck as a tight end, and he's a Pro Bowl caliber tight end. He is not. He wants to get paid. He's got maybe one more contract.
He deserves it.
If he's not getting, he does deserve it. But if
that's the thing. I mean, if you're him and you're backing up Goddard, you're not getting reps. They're not playing tons of 12-man this year, so you're
get more
losing
reps.
money.
I get it, but I think in a grand scheme of things, he's going to get a lot of reps anyway. I think he's going to naturally just get a lot of reps because, again, Goddard is not as dependable as Zach Ertz, health-wise and all. Goddard ain't going out there playing with no broke ribs. Goddard is new age NFL. If Goddard gets hurt, he's going to sit it out. You can tape Zach up and Zach good to go. So Zach's going to get his, I think.
Then I would say if that's the case, then trade Goddard. Trade one of them. I don't keep both.
I just see a point like I don't see Zach Ertz becoming like a backup tight end. I still think he's too young. He has years to go. He has football to play. I just think it's a common theme that we see sometimes where a player has just run his course in a certain city. And then that's kind of why I think it's time for him to move on. I thought the time would be, you know, especially with the way things transpired last season, you know, down the stretch. We saw, you know, with Carson, like it was just kind of that time. And that's what I felt for Zach Ertz. So just the fact that he's even back right now is kind of surprising to me, but who knows what we're going to do, you know?
There was so many different milestones. Like I feel like we all heard, you know, draft night, there's no way Zach Ertz is still here.
Right.
Then, you know, once the draft was over, there's no way they're going to sign all these guys with Zach Ertz still on the roster. Then no way you're getting Steven Nelson with having Zach. So he's made it past so many rumors at this point.
It's true.
That it really doesn't feel like he's going to leave. But like, yeah, one last question I want to ask pertaining to Zach Ertz, and then I'll kind of kill the situation or kill the talk, I guess. Is having him on the roster, does that help you in contract talks with a Dallas Goedert? Because, you know, as you know, sinister as it might sound, he's probably not going to be able to go out there and do what a number one guy would do if you have another number one guy. So, you know, does it maybe help you in that aspect?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, I'm sure you can say, well, look, you know, if you don't want the money, you know, we keep Zach Ertz a couple more years. I mean, yeah, they could do that. I guess I could see that being a negotiating tool for the Eagles. Sure.
Maybe. I just don't think Howie's built like that. I think Howie already has his mind set on who he's going to pay, and he got that vision based upon age. He's a younger guy. I'm gonna pay dollars. I think that's how Howie thinking about it.
They should have traded him after 2019. I'm sorry. Yep. I said that then, and I got killed for it.
I remember.
I got killed for it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think they should have traded him. I think Howie already has a sight set on paying Goddard. You know, as bad as it sounds, like I feel like we're kind of using Zach Ertz. You know, he's kind of just a presence here, and it's he's going to have the impact that he does. But you know, he might end up walking for nothing. And I mean, then you start to weigh: should we have done something before? Yeah, we should have, but here we are. So we got to make a decision.
If was a fifth, we'd all be drunk right now. But shout out to everybody in the chat. We got 100 people in here. We're about 30 minutes in. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, man. I appreciate you all. We got the goats in here. But so the next thing I want to talk about, man, is listen, the Ertz situation is a little, upsetting, but this one I think got everybody happy as Eagles fan. Obviously, getting Steven Nelson. Some people think he's the world. Some people think he's just a replacement. I want to ask you guys: do you think Steven Nelson is a game changer, or is he just an upgrade at a position?
He's an upgrade. Realistically speaking, but I'm happy about the upgrade because it's better than what we had. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
I look at it like this, man. Steel sharpens steel. He's already out there hitting Devontae Smith. He's letting people know that he's on the field. And it's only going to make those guys better. We don't need nobody being buddy-buddy with our wide receivers, giving them cushion, having them shining in, practice. They got to go out there and earn it. So he's absolutely an upgrade, but a game changer. I think in this system, he could be a game changer. You know what I mean? I think in this system, primarily probably playing a lot more cover than man, I think we'll be able to look for the ball in this system, and he ain't dropping a lot of picks. Neither is Slay. So I think this system is right for him, and I think he's going to shine. So upgrade for sure.
Oh,
I think you muted, 500.
Muted. Anyway, I think our secondary is actually going to be a game changer because, man, it's been a long time since we had two solid corners where I was just kind of comfortable. You know what I mean? Going out against the opposing team's best receivers. I even think Slay kind of got a bit of a bad rep last year because, there were a lot of contested 50-50 balls, and Slay was getting the bad end of the stick. And I think Slay is going to feel a lot more comfortable out there. And just our secondary, in addition to the safeties that we were able to acquire this offseason, I'm excited about our secondary. And for once, we primarily focused on defense, and I do like that. I'm never opposed to building a team around a defense, especially a good secondary, because it's been a long time since we had two solid corners that I could say, okay, I'm pretty comfortable with this.
I agree. I'm excited.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
All right, there we go.
I don't know who knows the hell happened.
Mark Holmes got you. That's what it was.
Mark Holmes, that stupid voodoo doll. Yeah, we were talking about Steven Nelson.
Yes, sir.
I think he's an upgrade. He's an upgrade. Solid. He's a solid starting corner. He's a solid starting cornerback number 2. And when you have nothing, before him, it's quite a significant upgrade. It definitely is. I mean, it's not Xavier Howard or anybody like that, but from where we were, now that you could put Maddox in the slot and give McPherson a chance to develop, I think it's a very good signing. Value-wise, it's great. And same with Anthony Harris and Wilson. Mm-hmm. I thought it was good, and I think it makes us be able to compete for this division.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Like you guys said, we've been so cornerback deprived, and I say deprived because I feel like that's a dramatic enough word to really say how we feel. But we have not had a good secondary in so long, so it is nice to have two competent guys over there. But I mean, Steven Nelson, all he has to do is go out there and be a second cornerback. We're not, we don't have the expectations that we had of Darius Slay, of Steven Nelson, right? So I think that he's in a great position. You know what I'm saying? I agree with you, Lord Brunson, where you say he could be a game changer in this system. So I'm excited. I think this is like what we've been waiting for as Eagles fans. I'm a defensive head. I love defense. So give me a 3-0 game every week. I'm cool with that. But shout out to my guy, Drew. He said, mad love for the Philly Kings. With coach and QB in question, the Eagles still have the best O-line and D-line in the division. Your prediction, please. Do you guys think we have the best O-line and D-line in the division?
No. Hands down, we got the best D-line. I think we got the best D-line.
I think Washington has the best D-line.
No, I think Washington got the best names on the D-line.
Yeah, see, great. I think they got a great defensive line. I do. I think they got good guys. I think a lot of it has to do with the emergence of either Sweat or Barnett. You need to get a guy with double-digit sacks on that side, in my opinion. Offensive line-wise, I think we do. Because as long as everybody's healthy, remember, Brandon Brooks is not practicing still. Either is Sayamalo. So you're practicing without either of your guards right now. I think once those guys plug in, I think that line could be dominating if they can stay healthy. But, I mean, if I'm being honest, in my opinion, I think Washington's defensive line is no joke. I just do.
I say Philly's D-line because we were third in sacks and third in pressures and in the bottom of the NFL in dialing up the blitz. So that means we was getting pressure with just purely the defensive line. Washington wasn't doing that. Washington was adding blitzes to make it, to dress it up. It was just bring four and you're still third in pressure. If Jim Schwartz would have blitzed more, he would still be an Eagles defensive coordinator. You know what I mean? If you got that many pressures and that many blitzes, that many pressures and that many sacks with that low amount of blitzing, I mean, it's just ridiculous. So it speaks volumes to the pressure that Fletcher Cox can create and commanding that double team. And it just speaks volumes to the way we can move and get after guys. I think it's us in that aspect.
Yeah, I think it's close. I really do. I think we have all the guys to be the best D-line in the division. They just all have to put it together this year, and I hope we do see a lot more pressure against the opposing quarterbacks. I feel like we've been missing that for a couple years. But yeah, I think there's a lot of questions this year too. Like I think there's a couple decisions to be made after this season based off not just how they play this season, but what are we looking for in terms of the future, right? There's been, talks going around about Fletcher Cox. Obviously, Derek Barnett hasn't really lived up to that first round potential. So I think after this season, we have some key decisions to make. But I think if they put it all together and if we send pressure, I think we're going to be a lethal, just a lethal defense in general. Yeah. I think we're very underrated right now on the defensive side. So.
I'll tell you guys, like, just speaking of I really think, and this is, to Brunson's point about Davion Taylor, I think this linebacking core, I mean, there's a lot of guys that got to prove themselves, but you got a lot of young guys. Okay. Wilson, I like a lot. Davion Taylor looks like he's showing. TJ Edwards is showing flashes. Sean Bradley. If some of these guys, a couple of these guys develop and they're solid this year, this defense could be very scary. It could be very scary.
And a name that we keep forgetting is Alex Singleton too, man. I always forget about him, and he was really a monster in some aspects of the game last year. Also,
Baby on
could play linebacker.
Yeah,
it could get spooky if we put it together right.
Yep. Yeah, and if you look at this line, if you look at how I know it's early, but if you look at how they've been utilizing the linebackers, it's been Eric Wilson, another real linebacker, like Alex Singleton, TJ Edwards. You take a name, put it there. And then it's been somebody like a Patrick Johnson or Jacoby Stevens. And I say those names because it's that big of a difference. Patrick Johnson is more of a lineman. Jacoby Stevens is more of a safety. So I think that shrinking that need by just not needing a third linebacker, you know what I'm saying? Like now we have such a versatile spot with that third linebacker. We're either going to get another pass rusher or we're going to get another guy, to give us some help in coverage. But I think that's the most important thing is that now we don't need that third linebacker to be the guy that is an all-around good linebacker. Like we just need like situational guys, which I think will help a lot of these young guys and a lot of this linebacking core. But to go back to the defensive line question, as far as the D-line, I do think it's close. I try to give flowers when we had shameless plug, when we had Ryan Kerrigan on here, I did try to send him give him flowers and say, hey, your Washington had a good D-line, but he was quick to send them back and say, no, the Eagles have had a dominant D-line. So I'm going with him. I'm going to say that the Eagles are going to have the dominant D-line. But I do think it's going to be close. I think we have
absolutely.
a lot of good players. They have a lot of good ones. And then I want to talk about the competitive throughout camp. Obviously, we haven't had any huge injuries or anything like that, so that's a good thing, right? But I want to ask, looking back to when Doug Peterson was the coach and looking at it now, obviously at this point we had like 25 injuries, it felt like. Do you attribute some of that to us now having competitive practices, having more live practices than when Doug Peterson was here? Do you think that's helping us stay healthy?
I do, definitely. Look, I'm a big believer that because the NFL doesn't allow these guys to practice and hit anymore, that they're not ready week to week, and it hurts, and that's why you have more injuries. I mean, even when growing up in high school, when I was in high school, we played football. We had 2 days in the summer. They don't do that anymore. And I think that's why you see so many more injuries. So, yeah, upping the intensity of practice, I think will help because, I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, it was ridiculous under Doug how many guys were hurt all the time. So I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, I think it. As a guy who's played football, it only can help. You got to get your body used to that high impact. You got to get your body, you got to get your twitches in order so you could be used to what's going to happen at any given moment. When you take that away from somebody, it's like not doing arms training and you going to Afghanistan. It's like you have a weapon, but when it's time to use your weapon, you freeze up. It's like the body's the same way, man. So I'm glad these dudes in pads, man, because I'm kind of scared of it, and I'm happy that it's happening because pads bring injuries as well. But you got to let these guys go out there and play and be physical.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing I would add is that I just really hope as a whole our roster stays healthy because it's almost crazy to think where we are as a team. Like we're kind of retooling, but at the same time, we have a legitimate shot at winning the division. So it's like the last 3-4 years now, it's just been excruciating. Like, I mean, we've been down to our fourth, stringers in some of our positions. I just want to stay healthy, man. And I mean, that'll give us a shot. It will.
I agree. I'll take it one step further, though. Let me take it one step further. Miles Sanders would have first halves where he would have 7-8 carries, 80-something yards. Then he would go long stretches in the second half with nothing. And then they would throw him in, and maybe he would have 1-2 carries that whole half. But I believe the way they used him like that, I believe that's why he kept getting banged up last year. Mm-hmm. Because they didn't let him – they took him out for long stretches, and he didn't do anything. Then they throw him back to the fire, and he has to go react a certain way. He's cold. And then he would get banged up, slowed up. And I really think that is a big deal. I think it's a big deal. I do.
Yeah, and I even think it's a mental thing, kind of like what you were saying, Brunson, when you using the war reference. It very is true. I mean, it's very much true. I don't know what the heck I just said. It's very much true, though, with your body, because if you're not used to using certain muscles, when it's time to use it, it's going to, freeze up, like you said. But you even think about it mentally. It works physically, but it's also a mental thing. We look at, and I know this is kind of like on a tangent with it, but we look at even Jake Elliott. You know what I'm saying? I was talking to Chris McPherson the other day, and he's doing like this whole mental thing. And he was saying that just the lack of being able to go out there and kick it like a normal, kicker does on normal situations, it makes you mentally start freezing up because it makes you mentally double think, why am I not out there kicking? Why am I not doing my job right now? So you miss kicks that you should probably hit, because not only is your body not used to it, but you're mentally not in that rhythm. So I think it's big on both ends of it. You're physically healthy, but mentally you're competing at all times. So you just naturally do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
But yes.
and then,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, me?
Oh, no, I thought you was about to say something. My bad.
Oh, no, I was just going to say repetition matters. I mean, doing things over and over and over again matter. And I think when you take guys out or they use them the way that Doug did, I think that it did cause more injuries. I mean, dude, we didn't have any injuries. What injuries do we have under Chip Kelly? Hardly any. And
he was like a hybrid machine.
And he stunk as a coach. But I think Doug, with his light practice, I think it hurt us, man. I do.
Exactly. Yeah. All that ice cream, like, man, I'm a big boy. You know what I'm saying? I know not to eat ice cream if I'm gonna go play some ball or something like that. Like, I don't know what that man was thinking, but let's end this podcast on a couple like positive notes. I want to say some good things now. We've complained a little bit. We've talked about some good things, but I want to ask you, looking at Jalen Hurts, looking at this team and how it's built, looking at the assets that we have moving forward, money that we have moving forward, how bright do you see this Philadelphia Eagles future if Jalen Hurts is that guy? If Jalen Hurts is a real quarterback, I hate to say it like that, he's not Pinocchio, but if he's a solid, good quarterback, how bright do you think that this Eagles future really is? Immediate future, I should say.
I think it's very bright because you don't have to waste your draft picks. You have a guy that's good at quarterback on the rookie deal. That's like the motto around the NFL right now, is to get your guy good while he's young, and then you start dropping in all the other pieces and spending big money everywhere else to try to hurry up and win a quick championship. Kind of like what Kansas City did. You know what I mean? I think it's very bright. You kind of redeem yourself almost if you're Howie Roseman. I think you just about redeem yourself if Jalen Hurts pans out, in my opinion. The sky's the limit. You got possibly 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and you don't have to use them on a quarterback. That draft would be crazy for you. You're just putting pieces around. You're putting an army around your quarterback. So I love it.
I agree. I mean, if Jalen Hurts is the guy, and you're going to have, let's say, 2 first-round picks, because what's his face, his foot went, don't look like we're going to get a first-round extra first now. So Mr. Glass gets hurt, we're going to get two firsts and 2 seconds, right? So if you can use that because Hurts is the guy, and let's say you go heavy defense, let's say you pass rusher, corner, maybe offensive line, I mean, and you get the picks right, you're set, man. You're building something special here. So the opportunity is there, no question about it. But we need Hurts. That's the key. Hurts has got to be the guy. He's got to be.
Yeah, I think, your football team goes as far as your quarterback takes you. I mean, you look at the past Super Bowls over the last 10 years. Look at the quarterbacks that are playing in the Super Bowl, right? You need to find that guy. And like Lord Brunson referenced, like, it's good to find that guy early on. Look at what the Seahawks did and look at the caliber of defense they were able to build. And, they should have won twice. But if you can find your guy early on like that, I think the future is way too bright. And, I mean, we have a chance this year. We do, if he is that guy.
Yeah, and I mean, the one thing that nobody said that I think is another positive is if Jeffrey Lurie somehow wakes up one day and he finds his cojones, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Manscaped, me and Brunson. We got our co-hitter, but if he finds his cojones one day, wakes up and says, you know what? I can't have this man running my franchise. I need to get a GM. This is probably the sexiest destination for a GM. You got 3 first-round picks, basically carte blanche. Like, our GMs have had full control over whatever they want to do. So this, if that's ever to happen, which I highly, highly doubt, but if that ever happens, we're a great spot for, whoever you name the GM.
I think Howie's on a lot thinner ice than people think, okay? Because he used the excuse that Doug was not developing his draft picks. And if Sirianni comes in and they don't develop, I don't think there's any more excuses for Howie Roseman. I think he's on a lot thinner ice this year than maybe ever. I honestly do.
I agree 100%. And I would add a point, and I would love to hear from you guys quickly. Do you think kind of the hierarchy and the structure of the organization, do you think that might get in the way this year of certain things happening? Because I still kind of have that urge, to be honest. And, I think there's talent on his team. But, I mean, in the first training camp press conference, I saw Howie come out to the podium and start answering questions. And I don't know. That's one thing that scares me, just being honest.
His presence just reminded you of how bad things could go wrong.
Yeah.
No,
that's
but
the thing with him, though. That's
I agree, though. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Y'all might be mad at me, but I almost forgive him. Almost. I mean, he had a really good offseason, man. I'm not saying he's the best GM in the world, but he did a lot. He listened. He listened to everything all of you guys wanted. All of the comments that I've been hearing, we better get Devontae Smith checked. Traded up, got it done. Everybody was screaming to the top of their lungs for Steven Nelson. Got it done. The dude has been listening. You know what I mean? And if Jalen Hurts pan out, I know this city like the back of my hand. I'm telling y'all, they will forget all the bad he did. If Jalen Hurts start cooking, that ice ain't that thin no more. I'm telling you, man. It all depends on if we win it. But the one thing that does concern me with Howie Roseman is the favoritism ball. I think sometimes if you draft a guy high, it might just be time to cut bait. And the 2 guys on my radar that are high draft picks are Dillard and Rager. If they don't pan out, you might got to go Quez and you got to go Mailata. You just can't play a guy based upon where he was drafted at. And I feel like if that happens, that's a Howie Roseman move for sure. And that's what we can't have.
Yeah, I
we've
agree.
seen that happen a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I like to say we play contracts over players. We play contracts over talent, right? Like we did it last year with Jason Peters. We've done it plenty of times with Alshon Jeffrey. You name it, Deshaun Jackson.
Darren Sproles. How
Darren
many times have
Sproles,
we rolled the corpse of Sproles out on the field and taken away snaps from Miles Sanders?
Yeah,
Yep.
it made no sense. We've done that time and time again. But like to your point, like if these are the guys we all wanted, so like at what who does get the blame? Like that's a hard question. That's a really hard question to answer at the end of the year.
What? Wait. What's the
ownership for
question
me.
again?
Like
What's the question?
At the end of the year, if at the end of the year you're sitting there and Devontae Smith isn't that good, Jalen Hurts isn't that good, you know, these guys don't pan out like we all hope, you know, Steven Nelson has a terrible year. Can you really blame Howie? Like, these are all the guys we all thought we wanted.
I blame his ass.
How we saved this up? I'm gonna tell y'all. Y'all could be mad if we win 4 games again and everybody's trash. Howie Roseman saved himself by getting those picks. At the end of the day, he's gonna slap that on Lori's desk. Look how many picks you got to fix it.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you're lawyer, you're gonna say, okay, well, I'll let you pick them. You didn't pick this guy right, this guy right, this guy right. We were trash this year. I blame Howie because I you know, he's the guy making pick. Look, we can like Devontae Smith, we can like you know, Jalen Hurts, we can like all these guys that they draft, and we're allowed to be wrong because we're fans. Yeah. We're allowed to be wrong, but he's the guy. You know what I mean? He's got to get them right. That's the thing. I think that him getting, I think Doug Peterson. I mean, Doug Peterson was a Super Bowl winning coach who went to 3 straight playoffs, and he got fired. He got fired, and to me, he got fired because the battle was they wanted power and control, and Howie was probably saying to Jeffrey Lurie, I drafted good players. And maybe he did. Maybe LB's right. And LB is right in one sense that if these guys come out and play good, they will forgive them. They will. Even me, I'll get caught up in it. Okay, I'll get caught up in it too. I'm a fan. I'll be like talking about Howie being smart and shit. And then he'll do something wrong. I'll say he stinks. But the truth of the matter is, Howie's I don't know what other excuses he has. If these guys don't work out, you change the coach, a Super Bowl winning coach who went to 3 straight playoff games. Yeah. And then you brought in a new coach to develop, and then they still don't play well. Now, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Devontae Smith's a stud. I mean, to me, that was a no-brainer. But I'll say this. I want to say one thing more about Howie. I think you have to talk to Howie a certain way. Okay? Howie doesn't seem like the guy to me that you go into his office and go, I need you to draft this guy. This is who I want. If you do that, Howie's going to be like, oh, I'm the GM. You'll do what I want. You know what I mean? Yeah. But if you make Howie think that he came up with the idea, like Inception, you ever see the movie? then you will get what you want. And if you look at Nick Sirianni, the way he talks about receivers and this, like he probably was planting seeds in Howie's mind that Howie's like, I'm trading up for Devontae Smith. That's what I think. I think you have to that's how you handle Howie, in my opinion.
I think it's very possible just because we've heard he's not the most social aware type person, right? But let me catch up on these super chats real quick. Shout out to my guy, Giants fan, apparently just came from running laps, said all these guys will be so sad at the end of the season. Get used to being in the basement. Basement dwellers, big
That's
blue.
Cruising. Cruising's got the same he's got the same comment. He just keeps copying and pasting in every Eagles channel.
I definitely saw that comment before. Cruising, you need to go lay down and go to bed. You must be sleeping.
He spending $5 to say that, man. Shout out to you, though. I appreciate that $5, man. And then Julio Marine with the $5 chat. Shout out to you, man. He said, "Hey, Philly 500. We got rid of Mr. Glass, and now more than $30 million are gonna be off the books next season. Get a white rerun." I should have put him just on the screen by yourself.
I love that show.
Right, hold on. We got 2 more. Let me find them real quick. Yeah, we didn't ignore your comments, but they maybe I should have. Maybe you would have gave more money. But shout out to you on that. And then shout out to Matt as fuck Watkins with the $15. Says, "Cruising, you can Uber your ass." out here. Oh God, don't fight in the chat. No fights in the chat. But I do want to ask now that the like we said, padded practices are coming tomorrow. So is there any player that you're looking at that you really want to see pads on that you think once these pads on, this guy's going to make a name for himself?
Landon. I know we might not see him. I cannot wait to see that dude in pads, bro. I can't wait. I know he's injury prone. I'm going to call a spade a spade. I think he's injury prone. But if you can get 9 games out of him, you're going to win all 9 of them games. Based upon the tape that I saw, you're going to be able to run the ball. You're going to be able to do whatever you want on the offensive line. If you can get 9 games a season out of him, you'll be good to go. I want to see him in pads bad.
He's a beast, man. Beast.
He's violent. We need that.
I'm not.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nah, I was just gonna say I'm not looking at anybody specifically, but there definitely are some jobs to still win. Going back to what we were just saying, like I really hope that they do drive it up based on competition. And I do think there are some pieces that might, you might have to cut loose ends. A player we didn't even speak on was J-Jaw. I mean, time's running out, buddy. I just want to see guys win jobs. You know what I mean?
Time ran out a year ago.
Yeah. And if there's another guy I want to keep my eyes on, it's our 3rd round pick, Milton Williams. We remember the famous draft scene and how he got screamed at. That's kind of the spotlight I'm looking at right now. So
Aaron Donald Jr.
Right. I mean, he definitely was a high draft pick. I mean, that was the only one that made me scratch my head on draft day, but I got to let it materialize and see. But
yeah, we got to see.
I got to let it see.
I wouldn't even play Landon Dickerson this year. I wouldn't even play him. To me, there's no point. Just let him rest. Let him sit behind Kelsey and learn everything he can learn. You know what I mean? To me, we'll know if the Eagles are picking players because of the money in that whole Derek Barnett, Josh Sweat battle. Because if Josh Sweat beats him out, then you know. Because Barnett, he just got restructured, so he may have 1 more year on his contract now. I don't even know how that's working, but who the hell knows?
Yeah, how do you restructure a guy on an option?
Yeah, I
don't know
the numbers. That made no sense when I read it.
It wasn't out. The numbers they weren't out at least before I got on, but they were saying that some people were saying that he may actually have an extra year now. So I don't know.
I mean, that's what they would probably do. Like, you should have just extended him then. Did like a 3-year deal where you're only paying him like $4 or $5 million every year. Like,
how is Howie Roseman doing this? Because if I'm doing,
I don't know. Howie got
I'm not
something
taking
on
that deal. Right, I would hit the market and get way more money than a restructured contract. I'll get a bona fide like 4 years somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's what they did, but that's what they were saying.
No, I mean, I saw the report as well. So he had to do something as far as the numbers in the years, but he didn't get re-signed or extended. Yeah, I want to see what the deal is with that.
I want to see the numbers because it just doesn't make sense. Like you said, he could have just waited till next year. You're making $10 million this year, clean.
But why did they restructure? Why did they restructure now?
That's my thing, though. That would be for the team, right? Or maybe he's getting traded.
But him and Lane Johnson both restructured. I don't know how much it is, but let's say it's $8 to $10 million, right? What do you need all that extra cap space all of a sudden for? What I'm asking is there something brewing? Is there somebody that they're looking to make a trade or an acquisition at some point? And they're freeing up money.
Now I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. 500. Now I'm going to be thinking. Now I'm going to be thinking about it. I'm going to have 15 videos out tomorrow. Like per sources, Philly 500. We might be making a move.
Well, did you hear the one today? I couldn't even talk about it. Aaron Rodgers. The Eagles are going to pursue Aaron. I'm like, get the hell out of here. I don't even want to think about that, dude. I'm so tired.
Everybody. That's what I've learned with the Eagles. Yeah, we're going to pursue everybody. Now, I want to ask y'all, because we did bring up a couple of the vets. I want to ask, how long of a leash do you think these vets have? Do you think that this is a make or break season for all these guys? Do you already think that they're probably out? Or, and by vets, I mean like Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks, obviously Fletcher Cox. Do you think this is kind of a make or break year for these guys getting big money?
I think as far as Brandon Brooks go, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot. We're going to be forced to keep him for a lot of that contract, as opposed to just releasing him. because I don't think anybody's going to want to pick him up. He gets injured way too frequently. I think Fletcher Cox and the defensive line are pretty much good to go. They're not asking for a lot of money. They're just out there really trying to just play and do their jobs. But the offensive line is tricky, man. I don't know what's going to happen with the offensive line.
Yeah, I'm worried about the offensive line, and I do think it's a make or break year because I think we kind of put ourselves in a situation here. We have some vets on 1-year deals. If they play this year and then they go on their way, I think if it doesn't work out this year, I think like all this cap space and all this other stuff and these draft picks, I think we're just lining up for a full haul next year. So, but if it works, we play who we can and we try to. Maybe things go superb this year, and maybe we become a bit of a destination, and we pick up a couple guys in free agency. But yeah, I think it's a make or break year for at least like 3 to 4 players.
Yeah,
I honestly think some of these guys are going no matter what. It don't matter; they're going. I think that the Eagles are slowly rebuilding. Right? It's not like a full, complete teardown, but you can see it's coming. So I think that they've got a plan of guys who may or may not be back. Guys like Derek Barnett. I wouldn't even be surprised if Fletcher Cox gets moved. If he's not unwilling to restructure his deal, 22-something million, he's going to be on the. I could see a situation where they just cut chip with some of these guys, regardless. For money and bringing in young guys.
Yeah, I'm on that same mentality. Honestly, I've said this. Honestly, I said this after 2017. I was like, we're going to start seeing all these guys that we used to love and adore, they're going to be leaving quick. It's taken longer than I expected. So I do think that a lot of these guys are on a very, very short leash, if they even have a leash. They might just be fully off the leash and just like, hey, go get your trade value up, maybe get another contract somewhere else. Because we're just not in the position. The only caveat I will give that the only way I say that doesn't happen is if we're good this year. If something shows that, hey, man, if we can add this to the team, this could be a Super Bowl team. Like if something like that shows out that, we're one piece away, then I could see them trying to extend it a little bit longer because that's what they're good at. That's why we're here. They love to kick the can down the road. So that's kind of why we're here. But it is what it is. I mean, let me ask you guys this. If we're in the season, and I know that the Eagles, have kind of been a pass first team. We have games where we're passing it 50, 60 times. How would you feel? Would you be happy if we became a run first team?
In a lot of ways, I think that's what we have to do to, blow a lot of teams out and control the clock this year. I think you kind of got to, you got to feed Miles Sanders this year. I think you got to feature him as a runner and you got to expose the defense to, a lot of play action. So I think adding more runs would definitely help. But Jalen Hurts has a really underrated arm. So I could see 60-40 run pass, something like that. And I think we could be able to survive with that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you're going to run a lot more. I do. I think that's the way you handle it with a young quarterback. That's how you take pressure off him. You got the horses up front to do it, right? You also have Miles Sanders, who I think will have a breakout year. Then you got Kerryon Johnson, who I really like. Jordan Howard. You got Professor Kenneth Gainwell. You got Ball Scott. Yeah, you're built to run, and I think they're going to run a lot more. I agree. It's not going to be like 50-50, or they're not going to run more, but they're going to run a lot more than Doug did. Mm-hmm. That's for sure. And that's what you need to. I really think Miles Sanders has – I've said this a couple times. Jalen Hurts is a key to the Eagles, but I think Miles Sanders in that run game is a key to Jalen Hurts because it's going to help him tremendously if you can run the ball.
Yeah, I think we're going to run a lot more. And I think even though Miles Sanders was banged up last year a bit, I think that honestly, I think he has a lot more to give. Like there were a lot of games where he would, 5-7 carries early on. And then, he would just disappear for like a quarter and a half. And I don't want to see that anymore. I say we feed Miles Sanders and let him go. Let him go to work.
Yep. Yeah, we got to see what we have. You know what I'm saying? If they get hurt, they get hurt. I hate to say it like that, but it is what it is. Like this is football. We can't keep on trying to baby them, and then just like because at the end of the day, you lose them at the most critical time. You know what I'm saying? You refuse to use Miles Sanders to his full potential. So maybe you extend him 3 games, but then you lose him in the playoffs. So like, does it really help you at all? You know, like just see who your guys are going to be going into, you know, the rough part of your schedule or just the schedule in general. But yeah, I agree 100%. I would love to be a running team. I would love to see somebody run for like 1,200 yards, go crazy. I would love to have Miles Sanders is on my franchise fantasy team, so I need him to go.
You're going to see it. So he's going off this year. He's going.
That's what I
this
need.
year.
That's what I need.
So
the last question I want to ask all of you guys with the training camp, you know, in hot, you know, whatever you want to. I don't know any good sayings, but it's training camp, y'all. So now that we're in training camp, what is your mentality for this team going forward? How are you going to the games every Sunday right now? Like, are you going there with the mindset we're gonna blow these teams out? This is gonna be a rough year. Where is your mind right now as an Eagles fan?
I feel tougher. I feel like we're mentally tougher. Something about this team just screams toughness. You know, when people don't expect nothing from you and you got a tough edge about you, you're going to catch a lot of people by surprise. Like, for instance, I don't think that Kansas City and Tampa are going to beat us. I feel like we that tough. One of them going to fall to us. I feel like we tough enough to you know, steal games of that magnitude. So I definitely expect to win a division. You know what I mean? And I feel tough against teams outside the division. But when we talking about teams in a division, I feel extra tough because I'm definitely not scared of the NFC East. So.
Yeah, I'm excited. I honestly think we're coming into every game as the underdog, and I like it. I just, you know, we ride, like, it's a cliche saying, but like, we ride that underdog mentality, and you know, you listen to what everybody's saying. They don't think we're going to be anything. I don't think we're a 10-11 win team, but I don't think we're a 3-4 win team. I think, you know, we're going to surprise some people, and really, it's all about seeing what you have going forward. So, I think we're coming in as the underdog, and like you said, like, I just think each team, even if we lose, they're going to have a tough time, you know, beating us. So I'm excited.
Yeah, that's all I can hope for.
Punch them in the mouth. That's how I come every game. Punch them in the mouth. That's how you want to start, because I think that this team, like, I think they're about a 7-10 win team. I think they're a playoff team. I think they're going to win the division. But, you know, I think they could be in every game. And if you look at the first 2 games of the season, right, you got Atlanta, no Julio Jones. I think they go in and they beat Atlanta. And then you got the Niners, right? Some people think the Niners are going to be so tough. Well, that's going to be the Eagles' first game back with the crowd. It's going to be crazy. I think the Eagles start off 2-0. Yeah, I think they start off 2-0. And then LB's point, you have Tampa Bay on a Thursday night game at home, right? Usually the home teams win those Thursday night games. So you never know. I expect this team to be competing for the division and competing and being in almost every game. And then as the year gets later and these young guys are used to playing and got some games on their belt, I think we're going to be very scary. That's what I think is going to happen.
Man, this defense, guys, can be really, really good. It has the right mix of veterans, free agents, young guys. This defense,
would y'all say top 10?
Really good. Listen, man. Listen.
Top 10,
listen,
top 5?
It's looking good to me, man. On paper, it's looking really, really underrated, man. That's all I'm going to say for right now. It's looking very underrated.
Yeah, to kind of mirror what both of y'all were saying, man, I don't fear anybody in the NFC East. And, you know, look, you know, to kind of say what you're saying on the Thursday nights, if you look at last year, I think we were undefeated on primetime games. And we beat like the likes of the Saints, you know what I'm saying? We beat some good teams in the primetime games. I think it was only like 2 or 3 games, but still, undefeated sounds better than 2-0. But so, you know, we've shown up when the lights are on, when the crowd's there, we've shown up. And look, if I've been sleeping in the woods for the past week, you give me a nice little twin bed, I'm going to be cool. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the highest expectations for the Eagles, but I just want to see them get better every week. And if you can give me that, give me good competitive football this year, that's a win-win situation. I understand we're probably not the best team. And if you surprise me, hey, even better. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's where I am mentally. I know I'm not going to get a filet mignon every day, but you know what I'm saying? At least cook the chicken tenders right and, you know, make it look pretty for me. And I'm a hope for the best, man, you know, but hey guys, I appreciate you guys so much, man. This was probably the most, like, this is the best stream I've probably ever done. I've done a lot of interviews and a lot of collabs, but this is like the coolest thing I've been able to put together. So I really do appreciate all your guys'
Appreciate
time,
you, my
man.
guy.
This was a lot of
Thanks
fun.
for having us on,
Appreciate it,
man.
man.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Definitely. And I'm sure we'll talk all individually again, and we'll try and get this together again. But I'd also appreciate everybody in the chat, man. We're still at 120. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. You see everybody's name is everybody's Twitter handle. So be sure to go follow them on Twitter if you're not already. Obviously, go subscribe to their YouTube channel if you haven't already. But I appreciate everybody, man. But other than that, y'all know what it is, man. It is Fly Eagles Fly, and we are out here. Peace.